All right. Zoom folks, if you can just thumbs up with an emoji or use a chat, let us know that you can hear us okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I got a couple thumbs up. Thank you for bringing some love. Thank you for the patience for folks who've been on since 6:30. We're about to get started in about a minute or two, so I just want to reiterate, if you're here for public session, whether you want to talk about our budget priority process, or just generally, and you're on Zoom, please sign up in the chat. If you're here in person and you want to speak around either our budget items or just public session, make sure you sign in and sign up at the table at the front. And I'll stay on mute just to recap a little. If folks caught the agenda, if you're on Zoom in our resources tab, you'll find a link to our website or an Airtable where you can see all of the materials handy for tonight. and also to our website and just like some supportive materials. If you're in person, which we're settling in. The agenda has two pieces, so we're gonna start with what is our budget hearing. Our mini budget hearing, we're gonna talk about that process. And then later on in our meeting, you're gonna hear from our committee chairs. And in their 3 to 5 minutes, they're gonna speak about some of the key items. So if you're a board member, obviously many board members, this is the first time you're doing this. So they're gonna kind of walk you through some of what's there. And you can kind of talk to members on that and ask questions about any items that they've listed, if that works. All right. I don't know if we have quorum, but we're gonna get started. Well, all right, but I could start our hearing process, right? Yeah, it's a discussion. Oh, actually, wait. So yeah, I can't call to order. All right. So we're gonna skip the first three parts of our agenda since we do not have quorum. When we get quorum, we'll be able to formally adopt tonight's agenda and minutes. So tonight, like I said, it's a little different. We're gonna start talking about our budget process. And then if you're here because there's something that you really want to advocate for and you're not a formal board member, right? That is a priority need that you highlighted or an idea that you submitted. We're going to start with you during the public session, and then we're going to have our regular public session pretty early in our meeting. So normally I know folks tend to wait till like 8 o'clock, but not tonight, if that's the case. Cool. Oh, and for new folks in the room, my name's Catherine Diaz. I'm introduce folks. I'm the chair for CB12, and I'm joined up here way by Anthony. Well, y'all can introduce yourselves. So.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anthony Viola. I'm the board secretary.
Hi, Daryl Cochran. I'm the second vice chair.
Hi, I'm Michelle Lee. I am the.
Yes, so we are your board elected officers, all volunteers in the room. We got more board members and on Zoom as well. And then I'm just gonna roll through. We do this every single month in terms of our norms, especially if it's your first time. This is a little weird of a meeting. So at our general meeting, usually only board members speak. At our committee meetings is where members of the public can have like full out dialogue. So if you did want to say something at this meeting, you got to sign up for the public session. We don't engage, right, in general dialogue of like back and forth conversation. We go in order by Robert's rules. So everybody gets their 2 minutes and we go in order of folks who raise their hand. If you are on Zoom, please use the chat. Anthony's going to be keeping an eye on it. If you're having technical difficulties, sometimes in this room, we do have issues with sound. So just flag for us if, you know, you can't hear anything at any point. Of course, you can turn on also some of the additional Zoom aids like captions and transcriptions if you'd like to receive those. And then on the chat, you know, we're going to keep monitoring for those kind of things. But please, board members, right, if you do have questions, please raise your hand so we can get those on record and in the actual recording of the meeting, which will help for the minutes and, you know, and the record of the meeting period. So cool. So we're gonna go into our budget hearing, a process that happens every single year in every single community board in the fall. And so if for folks who've been kind of tuned into our newsletters or you've been here before, community boards start this exercise pretty early in talking about and establishing what's called a statement of needs. Also, some of my board veterans, feel free to raise your hand if I miss something. But essentially we're putting together a list and we rank as board members, right? What are the items or what are the issues that our community faces the most or our district faces the most? As you've seen, right, New York City's budget is incredibly high. We got a lot of money. Where do we want that money to go? Right. And so we get to submit a lot of those ideas so that when the city starts its budget process, right, when the mayor, the city council, the agencies start identifying where they want money to go, they use the feedback of community boards to be able to establish the budget, or they're better able to say, oh, you know what, that's a great idea. Maybe you could fit it in something that exists. Or actually, we just don't have money for it, right? Why don't you talk to maybe your elected to try to find different sources of income to be able to support projects like that? So this is really the start of what is not even next year's budget, right? 2025, we're talking about 2026. So we're thinking pretty ahead. 2025 is already, we're in the thick of it. And then in the spring, we hear back from different city agencies, and the city agency that kind of manages all of this is, well, technically it's the Office of, I always forget the name. Management and Budget. I always think OBM. I don't know why, but Office of Management and Budget and Department of City Planning. So virtually online, you'll find literally going back for like 10 years, what they have said to every single one of the items that we've requested or that we've suggested to the city. And so what those budget requests look like really fall into two categories. One is expense, the other is capital. So for folks who aren't really familiar with this process, expense items are usually like day-to-day things like programs, right? So some folks, trash cans are super popular. That would fall under expenses. Being able to maybe have, I don't know, what's another example? Salaries, more staff, more supplies, things of that nature would fall under expense. And then for capital requests, which we tend to have lengthy lists of, or a healthy list, I should say, it tends to be really big ticket items, right? So you want to think about kind of like reconstructions, renovations, major construction projects, right? New housing developments, that all would fall under capital projects. And so what we do is we compile, since September, our committees have been discussing these items, and then we compile them all into a very lengthy list. And then the board members, the 50 or 49 board members of CB12 will rank them. And so essentially, I think it's the top 25, Ebenezer, that makes it in. I think it's the top 25, sorry, go into the official list. Yeah, so you'll see, you'll have the full list on our website, but the Department of City Planning will essentially rank, and then they'll post a response to about like the top 25 for each. From board members, are there any questions or did I miss anything? For those in person? No? Okay. So I wanted to kind of highlight. Oh, I missed a slide. I deleted a very exciting slide. So I wanted to highlight just some of what those submissions were and kind of similar to what we said, right? So building public bathrooms, which we're gonna hear at length later. Building at least 12,000 units of affordable housing, increasing 3 PK seats, and expanding ADA compliance in our stations. That's something that we've been ranking over the years, and we've seen a lot of progress, but we still got more stations to go, right? I think what's really exciting is that we have at least about 100 total items that our committees alone ranked. And as of today, we got 61 submissions from the community online. And they capture literally everything from trash cans to renovated spaces to addressing more fiscal support to removing scaffolding, right? Like people are tired of seeing scaffolding in the community. Can we get more people devoted to those efforts? So I know often over the years we've had community hearing, we've had really limited input, and I think it's incredibly exciting to just after a couple of emails to get 60 submissions, and literally from high school students to folks of all ages and all across the district. And so you can find, if you're on our Zoom, you'll be able, in the resources tab, you should be able to see on our Airtable, you'll find the full list of community submissions that were received. Okay. Come on, see. So with that being said, I want to kind of open up the floor for, not for board members, but for any members of the public who have a new item that they want to share or have a question or want to suggest an item that that the CB12 should consider. Yeah, and that'll be 2 minutes. Yes. Is it a point of order? Yes, thank you. That's what I was forgetting. And also, right, so if you did submit one and you're like, please rank this #1, this is your opportunity to do that. And if you're in Zoom, you can just raise your hand. Okay, it's a quiet night. That's okay. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna take that as hearing none. Folks can be able to review those items. Like I said, it's a really healthy list. So board members, we have a challenge in the next week, a really big one. Because like I said, committee members, we have roughly about 100 items that have come in that trickled in today on top of 60 that were submitted by the community. So what do we do with this and what's next? There's one person who wants to speak, Paula. Okay, thank you, Indiana. Oh, I see her. She's a panelist.
He is from.
Oh, that's different. Okay. So what's next essentially is that after tonight, because we got so many submissions through what, like 5 o'clock, Ebenezer, I think, like 4-ish. We're gonna compile them all. I know there's a sample or earlier draft of it on paper. So it's all gonna be compiled together and on paper and in SurveyMonkey. So if folks have experiences with SurveyMonkey or different things like Google Forms, likely tomorrow, all community board members will receive it in their inbox. So what that means is that you're just gonna rank them. And what's easy about SurveyMonkey, that means you're just gonna drag up, drag down, whatever order you like. You're going to have a little less than a week, and we will send reminders. From there, what happens is that Ebenezer and the office staff will compile that, and they're gonna see which ones got majority numbers. So, and then the top 25 of across the board will be submitted of both expense, sorry, so 25 expense, and I think 25 capital. Those get submitted to the Department of City Planning, and in the coming weeks, you'll be able to see that on the Department of City Planning website. So I just want folks to be aware, pay attention to your inbox. If you rather do it in paper, there'll be copies at the office, and then we'll try to circulate those over email, and you can just physically rank them, email them to the office or drop it off, and then they'll tally it in. Cool. Okay, cool. Wow, quiet night. All right, we're gonna keep pushing. All right, so that concludes our public hearing. Thank you, everyone. Also, I really do, again, anybody who's watching who did submit ideas, thank you, thank you, thank you. There are some super exciting projects on there that are new that that aren't necessarily on our list. And as mentioned earlier, not everything is able to get kind of submitted into that formal pathway, but it will be on our site. We'll share, there's also what's called participatory budgeting that the city council does. So that full list of projects we can submit to both Sean Abreu's office and Carmen de la Rosa's office so that they have it once they're like reviewing their participatory items. Okay, Liz, is that a question?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a question or a statement, but one of the things that Councilmember De La Rosa said at a public meeting a few days ago was that the participatory budgeting projects that do best are the ones that have a group of people to really champion them. So it's great that we now have a mechanism for rolling over specific things to PB, but they're going to do better if the people who like suggested them really attach themselves to it and work to promote them during the PB process.
Yeah, perfect. And not everything, I think it's also just good feedback for all of our electeds that they're gonna get this list to have of like what's kind of circulating, what folks want to be able to work on.
Yep.
Oh, perfect. All right, perfect timing. So what we'll do is there a motion. We're gonna do kind of like the formalities of our meeting, and then we're gonna jump into our regular public session. We'll start with people in person, and then we're gonna do people on Zoom. Cool. All right. Let me get my pen. All right. So we have the October, our formal agenda for tonight ahead of us. Is there a motion to adopt it? Oh, sorry, it is 7:01. Thank you. It's 7:01. I'm gonna call the meeting officially to order. Motion heard by Cedro and second by Wayne. All right, and then we also have our minutes for September and June. So June 2024. So let's adopt, is there a motion to adopt September minutes?
Liz Ritter, so moved.
I heard, this first. Is there a second? Second, Isidro. Sorry, and then June. mm, Daryl, sorry. And second? By Luana, thank you. The June and thing are on your table too. Okay, perfect. Yes,
In case you heard no objections, so we.
yes, thank you. No objections, no abstentions. Thank you, Miles. All right, so let's dive into public session. In person, let's start with in person. We had some early birds.
Step one, Kim? Okay, we're gonna have the only two in-person speakers come up to the front, starting with Monique George, speaking on commercial parking. Monique will be first, and then behind Monique will be Chris Whitaker, speaking on Harvest in the Heights Festival. You have 2 minutes. You can stand right here and face the board. Speak right in.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is good afternoon, everyone. My name is Monique. And tonight I bring forward to the board an ongoing public health and safety issue. Commercial trucks and vans with and without commercial plates are parking 24/7 on residential and metered streets. The most egregious are located on 178th Street between Broadway and St. Nicholas Avenue, 179th Street closest to St. Nicholas Avenue, and on the downtown side of St. Nicholas Avenue from 178th to 180th Street. These vehicles are chronically in violation of section 4-08 of New York City traffic rules, which A, prohibit street storage of commercial vehicles in excess of 3 hours, and B, nighttime parking of commercial vehicles on a residential street from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Such laws are established to limit commercial vehicular parking. The outrage of such violations, witnessing ambulances prevented from navigating public roads due to congestion caused by these violators. Because of these daily violations, it appears that the violators are not receiving summonses. However, I can provide images to substantiate these violations. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monique. And then next up is Chris Whitaker.
Can you use the podium mic? Let me see something. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Just a quick announcement. I wanted to invite you to the Harvest in the Heights Festival that the Fort Washington Green Community Garden, it's a fairly new development, is putting on October 27th, Sunday afternoon from 1 o'clock to 4:30. It's at Fort Washington Collegiate Church. If you haven't walked by there in a while, the folks there have been working on a beautiful community garden. They'll have baked goods, they'll have hay bales, they're gonna have a costume contest, story time for kids. The Washington Heights Chamber Orchestra is giving a little concert. So it'll just be a good harvesty October Halloween time. So I want to invite everyone from the community here and listening online to come out this Sunday, October 27th, from 1 to 4:30, Fort Washington Collegiate Church, the Fort Washington Green space. Thank you.
Thanks. Folks on Zoom, let us know if the podium mic works way better and we'll have folks move here. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that somehow, some way the room mic is being picked as the podium. I don't know what's going on. All right, so that concludes our in-person public session. So we're gonna go to the Zoom.
Should speak in this one, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so first up for the virtual public session is Juan Saldana, speaking on behalf of the Department of Sanitation of New York and Composting.
Hi, how are you? How's everyone? I'm so sorry. Just am I able to share my screen or to have some
Um,
flyers too? If not, it's okay. I'll go over the
no, you
information.
can. Give me a
Oh,
second.
okay.
Yeah, you should be able to now.
Okay, so there's some documents. Let's see here. It's just the flyers. Let's see. Can you see it on screen there?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll start off with the curbside composting, which of course began on October 6th. This service is applicable to all residential buildings of any size. Set out for this is going to coincide with your recycling day. So the night before, after 6 p.m., you can put out the container. Of course, it has to have a secure lid, not to exceed 55 gallons in size. And basically, just to clarify, so you can have your own container if you wish, or you can register now for a free container. And that container will be a size of 13 gallons. You can use any container of your own that you wish, but it cannot exceed 55 gallons and it has to have a tight fitting lid. We could provide a decal indicating composting only for your own container, or you can just opt to order the brown bin free of charge on our website. For yard waste, if applicable, you could use clear bags just for the yard waste. Food waste, you have to put it in any bag, any plastic bag, but inside that container. Now, there are multiple set out options include put the material directly into the bin, but we don't recommend that because, of course, especially in the summer months, that could be smell and very messy. You could put the material into a clear liner, which of course we strongly recommend. You can use any bag because in the composting process, as far as any plastic bag mixed in, there's a machine that actually extracts that plastic bag. You could, of course, collect with smaller bags of any kind, and then place them into the composting bin. It could be, again, clear bags, paper bags, or biodegradable bags. Again, okay to use clear bags for yard waste, but food scrap must go in the container. Now, the enforcement period for this, there's going to be a 3-month warning period just for the yard waste. Come spring 2025, that's what we will be checking for screw scrap mixed in with the regular trash. Any questions, of course, I'll be available because I only have 3 minutes to cover this material. I'll move on next to, of course, the residential containerization requirement, and this will be effective November 12th. All residential buildings of only 1 through 9 units, schools, houses of worship, and special use buildings receiving Department of Sanitation service must containerize their trash. You can use any bin of 55 gallons or less with a secure fitting lid. You do not need the official NYC bin until June 2026. So right now the option is, of course, you can purchase this official bin, but it won't require it until June of 2026. To purchase it, it's available via our website, and we use a vendor named Otto. I'll provide their contact information so you can call and order your official bin. When the mandate goes into effect on November 12th, it will only affect regular trash. Recycling can still be set out in clear bags, which is not recommended. We recommend, of course, a container, but cannot be placed curbside until after 8 p.m. if you choose the clear bags. Container you can put after 6 p.m. Bins can be stored inside of the building, side yard, or backyard. If no space is available, the bin can be stored along the building line as long as it's within 3 feet and does not impede or obstruct pedestrian traffic. Enforcement will begin, well, there's a warning period through the end of 2024. Fines will begin January of 2025. So January 2nd, that's when we will definitely start enforcing this and issuing summonses. There's a last thing that I have to cover, and this is basically just for any business owners. So any repeated offenders, when it comes to violations of cleanliness, whether sidewalk or front property line, any repeated offenders, failure to do so will result in escalating fines of within a 12-month period. And if you see there, the first, of course, is $50. Second time, it jumps to $300. Third plus up to $500. And that pretty much concludes the announcements that I have to make. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. So I'll provide my contact information, not to take up too much time. But thank you for allowing me to make this announcement.
Thank you, Juan. Department of Sanitation is very popular with our
Uh,
board, and
I could
we're glad that
imagine.
you're here tonight. You did have Sonia, who's one of our board members, who really
Right.
wants some of these flyers for her building. Can you just share real quick, like how people can access this if they want to share it out? In terms of
Sure. So I could either email them directly. They're available on our website. So I would have to guide you and navigate you in our website so you can find them. With Sonia, I can definitely email her all three, well, the two main flyers, and I can definitely share that. But on our website, they're available. You can also contact me. I can definitely provide the flyers to the board or any individuals interested.
Okay, you have one more question, but yes, if you could
Mhm.
email those to the board office, I'll DM you now on the chat.
Okay.
And we can include it in our weekly newsletter. Wayne? Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Wayne. All right, thank you, Juan, for stopping by. We hope to see you at our Health and Environment Committee soon.
Absolutely. Thank you
We'd
so
love to hear
much
more
and
about
have a
composting.
thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
You
Take
too.
care. Bye.
All right, who's next?
Great, thank you. So we'll be continuing on with the public session virtually. Each speaker is 2 minutes. Next up is Roger De Boer, speaking on 5G towers in the community. Give us 1 second. We will give you the ability to.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, Roger?
Yeah.
Can you hear us? Roger. Okay, we'll reach out to the chat and then we can move to the next person.
Okay, next up is Danita Nichols, speaking on homework help after school.
Hello. I don't see a video of me, but I guess that's okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you if your camera doesn't appear on our end, but
Yeah, I'm sure it isn't.
okay.
Doing this on my phone is not my strong point.
Okay.
I'm Danita Nichols. I'm from New York Public Library, the Inwood branch, which is opened and ready for service. And I hope you all are coming in and seeing it. It's so beautiful. But I'm here representing both Inwood Library, 4790 Broadway, and Washington Heights Library, 1000 St. Nicholas Ave, to talk about our drop-in after-school homework help program, which has begun in both libraries. It's a program that families can just drop by. You can come because of a problem that a child is having in homework, or they can come every day to meet with a tutor to help them with finish homework. The other cool thing about the program is there are teen reading ambassadors involved, so that there are teens who are having a chance to, teens who are interested in education, having a chance to practice and work with younger children with reading. So many, many good things going on for these. It's between 3 and 6 every day at both libraries.
Perfect. Sorry, and by both, did you, did that conclude your report? Sorry, Danita?
Sure, that can conclude my report.
Okay, and by both libraries, you meant, Inwood, and which was the other branch?
Washington Heights, 1000 St. Nicholas Avenue. Fort Washington is still closed, though we're looking to have an announcement for opening sometime in the near future.
Okay, thank you. And then same, right? If you could share the flyers with the board office, we would love to put that out.
I will do. I will do so.
All right, perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Cal Miranda, speaking from the New York Restoration Project, talking about the Fall Fest.
Hi, good night, everyone. I just wanted to invite everyone in the community board to attend the Fall Fest. It's gonna happen this Friday, October 25th, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Sherman Creek Park, near to PS5. And we still have some spots available if anyone wants to table. And I'll share. I don't know how can I share the flyer but I can share my email, and anyone interested can email me, and I send the information needed. That's all.
Thank you so much. Next up is Ariacella Holbrook Smith from the CUNY School of Public Health, speaking on the Cannabis Equity Survey.
Hello?
We can
Can you hear me? Okay, beautiful. So if you've attended recent meetings, you've probably heard about this already. But good evening, everyone. My name is Ariacella Holbrook Smith. I'm from the CUNY School of Public Health and Health Policy, and we've been working with the CB12 Cannabis Task Force on a cannabis equity survey in our community board. And we encourage anyone over 18 to fill out the survey. You're welcome to ask the board members about it. I'm sure they've all been hearing about this for months now. But the survey is open through the rest of October, and we are looking to get a sense of the knowledge, attitudes, and beliefs around cannabis legislation and the impact it has on our community. So please fill out the survey, please share the survey, and if you have any questions, I will drop my contact information as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next is Katie Koss, speaking on behalf of a student publication at NYU and talking about the Dominican Historic District proposal.
Hi, everyone. I don't know why it's not giving me video access, but it's fine. Oh wait. Okay, now I have video access. Hi everyone. Yeah, I just had one quick question in regards to the Dominican Historic District proposal. Community members feel like there wasn't much transparency on the proposal for the Dominican Historic District from the community board. From when the proposal was first introduced to the board by the Dominican Studies Institute at City College to the September 12th vote, were there any discussions being had, including community members, Dominican and non-Dominican members and non-Dominicans in the execution of the proposal?
Hi, Katie, this is Kathy. Okay, so just for like order in terms of this meeting, we're not able to respond to public session in terms of just like full dialogue. So what I'll ask, I'm gonna put our general emails there, if you can send that through. And then just if you could clarify in your email, like which meetings you're talking about, because I know there were meetings that were like there were forums and proposals that had nothing, that the community board wasn't part of. So I don't know if you're referencing that, or maybe like, I think what, 4 years ago, meetings that the board had to discuss it generally. So just if you can email, and I'll put our district manager's email in the chat to you, so you can email him like your full question and he can kind of guide you to the best avenue.
Okay,
That's
awesome.
respond.
Thank you.
Okay, and lastly, we're gonna try Roger again, who's
Yeah.
speaking on 5G towers.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. I was on multiple devices and somehow it went. You activated the wrong one. I don't know how to activate video, same as our previous speaker. I don't see. There we go, Journey.
Able to now.
Okay, perfect. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so I would like to bring to the attention of the board the installation of 5G poles throughout Washington Heights. We just got one installed right outside of our own window. I'm not at home right now, but we live on the corner of Fort Washington Avenue and 180th Street. Look, it's right outside of our window. We're on the third floor, so we have all of a sudden this massive cylinder in front of our window. And what we would love to understand is one, like why is it on this specific location? Two, why nearby residents weren't informed when it got approved back in 2021. And three, if there's anything we can do about it. Look, this is not the only pole that's going to be installed in Washington Heights. When I look at the New York City websites, there's going to be about 270 of them throughout our neighborhood. So this is not just about us, but we have concerns about a couple of things. I think one, right, like a big cylinder outside of our window is just a big eyesore, right? Like light is a difficult thing to get in New York City, and if then it gets blocked by a big pole, that's challenging, right? Two, right, for those of us who have acquired their apartment or have bought it, right, there is a real appreciation or depreciation that we see throughout New York. Like we've read stories about 10 to 20% reduction in value of their apartments, so we're really worried about that. And then there's the health implications as well. Now we know that the research on that is mixed, right? But when we read into it, it's at best inconclusive, and at worst, there's studies from the European Union that say that 5G actually is potentially harmful for both adults and children. So we would love to understand from the board, and I know you cannot answer the question right now, but if there's anything we can do about it, because we are really concerned, not just for ourselves, but for the entire building, our neighbors, and also the rest of the neighborhood.
Thank you so much. If you can also, when you reach out to the board office, if you could just include which building again. And I know that we did receive inquiries, and even though we can't share, but this is kind of part of the chair report. There were inquiries, and I know that our office did reach out to the Office of Technology and Innovation, or OTI, to be able to get a response. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm already, I have emailed about this and I have my address in there, so let me know if I need to email again.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Absolutely. And also,
No, that's it. Do you want me to announce the electeds?
we have, yeah, we'll bump up if that's okay with everybody since we're in the thick of it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna just do a quick agenda amendment, if that's okay, since we're in the thick of people speaking. We'll go to the electeds that are online, if that's okay, and then we'll come to in person, since I think there's more people in person representing electeds.
Okay, so first is Councilmember Carmen De La Rosa.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. I wanted to come on and bring greetings to the board and give a little update on what we've been working on. I also asked Kathy to connect our office with the last gentleman who spoke about 5G towers. Is an issue that we've also been working closely with the board on. So the council, as you may have heard, has been working diligently around, dissecting the City of Yes proposal. The council held 2 public hearings the day before yesterday and today on this proposal. And we're moving towards continuing the conversation with stakeholders, with the different city agencies. And I have received from my office representatives that represent you all on the board, the corresponding resolutions from Community Board 12, and taking that feedback. Our office will continue to have conversations around City of Yes. At this moment, my position is that the City of Yes needs some amendments, and that is a conversation that we are continuing to have. I look forward to continuing to engaging with you all on those proposals. I wanted to also speak about participatory budgeting, which I heard the chair talk about earlier today. We have started participatory budgeting season. our office will be having an in-person participatory budgeting meeting assembly on October 28th at School in the Square. And then there's going to be a virtual option the next day on October 29th. And we will share that information with the board. We hope that you can make it and that you can champion your proposals. Our office also has initiated what we call Carmen Visits, which is an initiative where I visit all the public schools in the district. We are getting around and getting the concerns of the school communities in order to, one, address some quality of life issues outside of the schools, but also inside of the schools, have the conversations early around the budget. I think it's a wonderful initiative that Community Board 12 has undertaken for years to start the budget conversations early. It's so important, especially in a year like this year where we don't know what's waiting for us on the other side of the budget conversations. It's important for us to get the feedback from the community early. So we look forward to, as always, having the budget conversations early and often with Community Board 12. October is Domestic Violence and Cancer Awareness Month. We were proud to partner with the DA's office, Community Board 12, and other partners for the Shine the Light event last month. And we also hosted a free mammogram bus in front of our district office for free mammograms for folks in the community. I also want to say that last weekend, and I want to thank the board for your partnership with the street co-namings. Last weekend, we were able to honor former Community Board 12 member and a beloved member of our community, Edith Prentice, with a street co-naming. We want to thank the community for coming out and all of the colleagues from Community Board 12 who joined us and elected officials. And then the weekend before that, we co-named the 179th Street and Audubon for Reverend Carlos Reyes, who was the Reverend for the church on the corner there of 179th for about 45 years. And just as a reminder, the street co-naming process at the City Council is, the deadline is for us, internally is December. And so if the board has any other nominations for street co-namings, please send that over to Jamila in our office so that we can start working on that. I wanted to flag for folks that NYCHA has announced a program to deal with rental arrears. So NYCHA residents who owe back rent, our office is helping to fill out some of those applications. And of course, as always, if there's anything that we can do to help, we are here to serve. Our office is on 177th Street and Wadsworth Avenue, right on the corner. And we're looking forward to continuing to work with all of you. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Carmen. You have one question from a board member. Chris, if you can, or, okay. Oh, yeah. Where can we learn more about your amendment or the proposed amendments on the City of Yes and your position on it?
Yeah, so I invite you to reach out to our office. In terms of amendments, the council as a whole is actually, the Speaker of the Council announced a few days ago that she is planning to introduce sweeping amendments to the proposal, and we're actually having those conversations internally in the council, but I'm happy to share more on our position. I've taken the feedback that the board has given me. I know that there's some worry around the parking, eliminating the parking requirements and other and wanting to preserve deep affordability within the proposal. And so I'm continuing to take that feedback. So feel free to email us. Jamila has dropped her email in the chat, but I'm happy to also talk more at length about what I think about the proposal offline.
Perfect. I don't see any more hands. So thank you so much, Council Member, for
Thank
joining
you.
us tonight.
My pleasure. Bye.
We're gonna go on to, and yeah, all the info is in the chat. So we're gonna go on to Fernanda. I might butcher your last name, from the District Attorney's Office, Luhan.
Hello, you did amazing. That's perfect. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we hear and see.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fernanda Luhan from the District Attorney's Office, located in 530 West 166th Street, the Washington Heights Satellite Office. I currently have nothing to report besides just thanking Community Board 12 and everybody who attended the Shine the Light event. So if anybody has any questions or concerns, I can share my contact information in the chat. And for the people in person, I can also share my contact information if you guys need me to.
Yeah, definitely helpful if you just throw it in there and it's helpful.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I thought he was here. Is Christopher in the room with us? Yeah, I know. I was like, wait, he's here. Okay. No, we're gonna keep going on Zoom if that's okay, and then we'll pass it up. All right. Thank you, Fernanda. Have a good night.
Thank you all.
Oh yeah, so Paula. Yes, Paula, who's been waiting patiently. So Paula from Council Member Sean Abreo's office is with us as well. There we go. Paula.
Hello, can you see me?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now
Ooh,
you're nice
sorry.
and big. Yes, I should warn people.
Hello everybody. My name is Paola Leon. I'm the new Director of Communications for City Councilman Shauna Breu's office. So this is my first time speaking, so it's very lovely to meet all of you. I will also drop my contact information in the chat in case anyone doesn't have it. But I'm here to talk to you today. Though I feel like it's been spoken to a little bit, yes, it's participatory budgeting season. If you see on City Councilman Shauna Breu's Instagram page, as well as the Link NYC, we put on multiple dates where you can find members of our staff at different events and talk about participatory budgeting with any questions or even submit your little slips. Upcoming events where you can chat with us about participatory budgeting. Well, this Saturday we have e-wasting from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., but our staff will be there from 12 to 2 at Montefiore Square Park, 137th and Broadway, as well as we will also be at a different event at this same Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. at 111th in Amsterdam. Now, on October 30, nope, that's not wrong. Yes, October 30th, sorry, on 161st Street and Broadway. Sean will be there. So if you would,
1 second.
sorry.
There you go.
So if you'd like to catch Sean and ask him some questions yourself, that'd be a great event to catch. I can also drop the flyer again in the chat if that's helpful. And then we're having a special info session, like an open house at our district office on Halloween. So if you're trick-or-treating, we'll have some candy so you can stop by, ask our staff any questions you have about participatory budgeting. We will be open from 5 to 7 p.m. for the open house about participatory budgeting. I also just want to thank anyone that may have made it out for the Cynthia Doty street renaming. It's on 103rd Street and Riverside. So if you haven't seen it, we co-named the street this past Sunday. So go take a pic, go check it out. It was a very beautiful event. Lastly, ballot proposals. When voting, Prop 1 is protecting anti-discrimination laws and women's rights. So keep that in mind. And we do have some concerns, however, about proposals 2 through 6, which we believe the mayor put forward with insufficient review. As written, they do take away power from the city council and reduce the power of local representatives, which we believe is very important. So do with that what you will. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, but that's it from me.
All right, thank you, Fernanda. All right, and I think that concludes our Zoom, folks. So thanks for joining us. I'll remove you from the big screen, and we're gonna switch over to in-person by order of arrival. So first up from Public Advocate Jamani Williams' office is Noah Coy. I might have y'all use the podium over here, so we'll swap.
While he's coming down, if you're a board member and haven't signed in.
Let me just remove the spotlight. Yeah. Or we can swap. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. So I also do not have anything to report, but as always, to get in contact with our office, you can email our office at gethelp@advocate.nyc.gov. You can call our constituent services hotline at 212-669-7250. And you can also feel free to visit our constituent services department in person. Our office is located inside the David N. Dinkins Manhattan Municipal Building at 1 Center Street. And our walk-in hours are Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But if not, thank you for your time.
Jamani celebrating with the New York Liberty.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, he was there the other night.
With Big Ali. All right, next up is, thanks, Noah, State Senator Robert Jackson's rep, Edgar Tavares, who's here in person. Come on up.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Edgar Tavares from Senator Jackson's office. Not much to report, but we are also asking people to support Prop 1. Thank you. The main thing that we are concentrating and informing people on is being able to communicate with us when they are trying to create tenants associations in their buildings. We know and understand that everyone is going through much when we're talking about landlords, especially in Washington Heights and Inwood. We are working with a number of buildings, tenants trying to create tenants associations. We're working with all the different groups that help organize tenants in the neighborhood, not just here, but also in the Bronx. We also have tenants' rights clinics that we do with Met Council. They do every second and fourth Tuesday at 5030 Broadway at 6 p.m. You can contact Robert Jackson's office. You can contact myself. I have cards on me. You can also call our office if you need any type of information regarding that. And that'll be it. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Thanks, Edgar. Please share the presenter's contact info. Okay, yeah, I'll drop Edgar's as well and the people who spoke in person. All right, so next up we have from Assemblymember Manny de los Santos' office, Christopher Espinosa.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be here, especially in person. My name is Christopher Espinosa. I'm the Director of Community Affairs for Assemblyman Manny de los Santos. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The Assemblyman joined the Shine the Light march that occurred here in our district, and many other events as well related to both of those occasions this month. In addition, October 5th was also World Teachers Day. In honor of World Teachers Day, we held a teacher appreciation brunch with educators in District 6. It was a fantastic event, and we look forward to doing it every single year. I also would like to announce that we have an upcoming event. We have a paper shredding event that we are doing in Inwood on Isham Street and Seaman Avenue. This will be taking place on October 26th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Feel free to bring the documents that, sensitive documents that need to be shredded securely and safely. We're doing this in partnership with the Inwood Merchant Association, New York Presbyterian, and the New York State Latino Restaurant Association. In addition, we also love to connect with our small businesses in the district. We have a small business survey that we share with the community board, and they were so kindly to share via their email list. Please, if you are a small business owner or you know of a business in our district that needs some kind of assistance, we're here to help. Of course, we try to assist the best we can within our state jurisdiction. It's important to be aware of that as well. And the Assemblyman, we love to connect with the community directly. So we have Manny on Your Block, which is an initiative where the Assemblyman, we go on the corner, connect with constituents and residents throughout the district. Stay tuned for upcoming events for Manny on Your Block. And right now, we are getting ready for a session which begins in January. So if you have any legislative inquiries, any kind of legislation, any ideas in the community, any collaborations as well, since I'm the Director of Community Affairs for events, we would love to connect with not only community-based organizations, but also residents. Obviously, we're here to learn from all of you to kind of brainstorm what kind of events, what kind of initiatives you want to see in the community. I'm going to stick around to connect with you, but also feel free to reach out to our office. Physically, our office is located on 207th Street and Sherman Avenue, and you can also call our office or email me as well. And lastly, I also want to mention that our district office and the office of every single elected official, we are a resource hub. Our district office, we have a number of organizations and agencies that we partner with. So we have services every single month. We work well with the tenant support unit. So any issues with tenants that they have issues in their buildings, please come visit our office, refer them to our office. We have the New York Legal Assistance Group, Pro Bono Legal Assistance Services. And we are also helping with the new program that was unveiled to help NYCHA residents with the rental arrears. Thank you all so much.
Absolutely. All right, I don't see any hands. All right, and last and certainly not least is from representing Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine, Porfirio Figueroa.
Good evening, everyone. It's really great to be here in person. My name is Porfirio Figueroa. I am the community coordinator for the Manhattan Borough President's Office and liaison to both community boards 11 and 12, representing Mark Levine. The borough president sent a letter to the MTA outlining gaps in their recent capital plan. This included necessary funding to continue the need for accessibility at stations across the borough, platform safety screen doors, and other items that should be in the capital plan, such as moving forward on funding and installing installations as part of the improvement projects and all feasible stations. I want to thank everyone who came last Tuesday to the Hispanic Heritage event at the Armory. It was a great success where we honored Latino journalists. I was also happy to see DSNY here, Juan Santana, because we received so many questions regarding composting, from how fines get adjudicated to how does composting get separated, disposed of, and more. So because of this, our office sent a Dear Neighbor letter out to Manhattanites across the borough via our newsletter as well, to better educate everyone on this new city policy. We also have composting resources on our website. I also have this there. I put on the side table. It's the green one, which also has pictures of what to do with your composting materials. We're back. The leadership training series begins. This is our annual leadership training series, which begins this Monday, October 28th through Friday, November 1st. The leadership training series is an opportunity for community board members to gain additional insight to the issues they tackle every day, such as land use, housing finance, using open city data. Additionally, training on COIB, which is Conflict of Interest Board, combating implicit bias, and EEO, equal opportunity employment. The last three are required by all board members to take. Note that all trainings will be virtual, with the exception of emergency preparedness on Friday, November 1st at noon, which will take place at our office located at 1 Center Street, 19th floor. The first 30 to register will receive a to-go bag for being in attendance. And you can find all of that also additionally on our website, which is www.manhattanbp.nyc.gov. Additionally, I have another flyer, which is yellow, with the QR code so that you can actually register directly onto all the training series. And that's the end of my report. Yes.
The trainings, and you go get in the mic, the trainings, is it every year or is it like during your time?
We have done them every year since Mark took office. Oh, the requirement has been every year. Yes, the answer is every year. I will say also that for those of you, I understand that this starts on Monday. For those of you who can't take any part of the series, all of the series will be on our YouTube, channel as well, probably a month afterwards. And those of you who missed the required ones can take them that way, and there'll be a way for it to be tracked. Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am here as your district manager to give my report.
Always, it's a pleasure being here as the district manager and give a brief report of the activities. I just want to report on two demolition that is happening in the district, two building being demolished, but owned by the New York Presbyterian Hospital. One location is the two buildings on Broadway between 170th Street and 171st Street. That those buildings have been vacant for years, and New York Presbyterian Hospital started the demolition like a month ago, and they said that they're going to be demolishing the building inside, and they're working in the installation of the scaffolding. They promised, and they said they're going to be talking with the street vendors that were in front of those property. This morning I passed by to see that the work, the installation of the scaffolding is going forward, and I didn't see any vendors there. They say they work it out with them to relocate it, et cetera, et cetera. So let's see what happened. We're going to keep an eye on this location because when you have a scaffolding and a street vendor, many things happens there that we don't know to happen. But I see that Colombia, that the hospital is installing lighting underneath of those scaffolding, and we want to be patrolling or observing this location of demolition and the scaffold, what is happening underneath of that scaffolding as well. The other location is here, very close to where we are now, is 161st Street and 4 Washington Avenue, where the cancer center gonna be built. They started the demolition inside, and they're gonna go little by little until they demolish the entire building. We also inspecting that, and we encourage anyone who may have a complaint regarding these two demolition and construction to let us know right away so we can follow up to address those issues. There is a very the defective valve making a lot of noise when cars go over, located on Pinehorse Avenue and West 177th Street. It's a connect valve. The residents from that area called the office a few times. They called me again because the issue has not been addressed. I get in contact yesterday with Connecticut, and they promised me that they're gonna address the issue right away. And I want to call everybody's attention on the November calendar. The month of November has a lot, but not a few holidays more than usual. We have 1, 2, 3 holidays, and the office is going to be closed in observation of these holidays. As a result, the meetings scheduled for those dates had been relocated, was rescheduled for another days. That is not the same date that it needs to be. So please take notice of that on election day, the office is going to be closed, and the meeting scheduled for that Tuesday has been relocated for Monday. And also on Veteran Days, the office is going to be closed, and that meeting was relocated to Tuesday, November 12th. And on St. Gibbons, the office is going to be closed, and the day after St. Gibbons as well. So pay attention to these changes. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call. Also, I want to call committee chairs. Please send me your agenda for November. The calendar is not on the back, is not complete because a lot of agendas are missing. Please send me your agendas by tomorrow morning. So I need to send this calendar by the end of the week to make sure that we give proper notification to the community. And finally, I'm gonna call everyone, board members, and also the member of the district, and seeing us via Zoom and YouTube today or any other day, to please help us to address the issues in your area where you live in Washington Heights, in this section of your district. If you have any service requests in your area, please call the office 212-568-8500, 212-568-8500, or send an email to CB12M at cb.nyc.gov, CB12M at cb.nyc.gov. Thank you very much. God bless. Oh, I have a question. Mr. Simon.
The first building that's being demolished by Luhan is actually located on Broadway between 169 and 170.
Yes, I was doing from my mind, but you're correct about it. Yes.
So the new building, which I believe is going to be 13 stories is gonna house medical school students. The original concept of the building has changed, and it's now gonna be housing for Columbia Medical School students with retail on the ground floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Is there any other question? I don't see any other question. Thank you very much. This is the end of my report. God bless you all.
All right, cool. Thank you. My agenda has all of my notes. That went missing. Sorry, folks, just 1 minute. Is that? No, all right. I don't know what happened to my copy. I have my notes. All right, we're gonna go off the dome. If I missed something, let me know or check in with me. Thank you for joining us. All right, so for chair report, so one of the first things, Carmen mentioned around the City of Yes hearings that have taken place. And so for board members, if you recall, the reso that we submitted, along with all of the boards that we had to submit prior to the summer break, was kind of preliminary. We did flag many issues. So please stay close to that. The hearings are taking place now. It seems like it is evolving day to day or maybe week to week at the council level. So if you're definitely passionate and want more information about the City of Yes proposals, reach out to the office. We can try to compile some of the existing resources. And I know there are, hearings happening that folks might want to testify at. So that's also another component. Yeah, I can take it, sorry.
Budgeting meeting that was gonna be held on October 28th. What was that location?
I did not catch that, but I'll put in the front, or maybe before you leave, I'll give you, because it's on the Zoom chat, for council members, both council members, district office, both of them are doing participatory budgeting. So if you live in the 150s, or if you live in 150s up to Marble Hill, that'll be Carmen's area, and so there's projects for both ends of the district. So they'll have the schedule and kind of like what's on the list right now being considered. All right, so I got announcements for board members. Oh man, I'm a little bit more frazzled because I had a really long list of things to share. So for board members, I just want to echo two big things. One, attendance. So please make sure if you do have questions, right, about your attendance record, in terms of your absences, maybe you got a letter this summer, or maybe now you're back and your work schedule is kind of a little all over the place. Please reach out to the office. So Paola handles all of our, tracks all of the board member attendance and kind of like requests and things like that, along with Anthony and myself. So please make sure that you email the office and include them. If you know you're already gonna be out because of whatever given reason, especially as we approach the holiday season, let your committee chairs know, right? And let the office know so we can kind of plan accordingly. Second to that, if you do have, an unexpected circumstance, right? So again, a babysitter canceled, or you had to work late, you didn't think you had to work late, and you want to join on Zoom, if you reach out to the office by at least 3:00, maybe 4:00, depending on the day, week, the office will make sure to send you a panelist link. But once it hits closer, it gets more challenging for them to be able to do that because they're moving around, running around and receiving folks. So they're not necessarily, especially on general meetings. So they're not necessarily paying attention to that. So definitely make sure, right, if it's past 3 p.m. and you didn't get a Zoom link and you had a circumstance, you have to go onto the website or onto our newsletter and be able to do the registration yourself. And just let your committee chairs know that something happened, like, hey, by the way, I'm on Zoom for X reason. I know some folks have been asking, like, are trying to understand that. So in terms of just when people hop on Zoom and what the quorum numbers are like. So just stay on top of that. If you do have questions about those processes, or like you want more information about those protocols, Paola could provide that, and just CC me and Anthony as well. Okay, so that covers attendance. Number two, it is October, meaning every single October, the chair puts out the call for our nominating committee. So our board has elections in December, right? We talked about this at length, and I think last month around bylaws. So our elections are in December. Nominating committee, we start the process here in October. What nominating committee means, essentially, it's the committee that coordinates our elections, right? So if somebody wants to run for a board officer position, they would send that to the nominating committee. The nominating committee reviews, make sure, right? Like, because part of our bylaws require that you have to have a certain attendance tier, that you have to have served over a year on the board. And so the nominating committee reviews all of that, and they also put together the process of our elections. So what that looks like in our November and December general meeting. So if you are interested in joining the nominating committee, you've got to email me. If you don't have my email, I will give it to you, or you can get it from the office as well. And then we'll put together that list and form the committee by November. And then the other important thing too is that if you're part of the nominating committee, you can't run for a board officer position. So just keep that in mind if you do want to sign up. And we need odd numbers. So I think it's usually about 5 members, usually 5, and we want to keep it there. Okay, that covered point number 2. There was another one, but I'll remember later. And then the biggest one that I definitely do not want to forget, that is Bittersweet. And I want to give her space to speak to the board, is that we have someone who is stepping down from our board by the name of Michelle Lee. Who's been an amazing partner in, I mean, especially for committee members who have served alongside Michelle, know just the level of commitment and intention that she presents, and all of like her insights as well. And then, of course, certainly as part of the board officers as treasurer, and really bringing I want to say like a new light, new approach, new transparency into the role of treasurer, that I know like over the last 2 years, a lot of us have really commended and appreciated of you, Michelle. So I just want to, a little token. You just heart, we saw these. I'm like, these are as colorful and joyful as you. So the floor is okay.
Thank you, everybody. First, I want to say what an honor it's been to serve on CB12 for the past 3 years. I started in September 2021, basically during the pandemic, and to be treasurer for 2 years. I want to let you know, it was my last CB12 meeting as a member. I had a pretty difficult family loss this year. Sorry, it's been really hard. And I just kind of wanted to take some time for myself and my family and my health to just kind of prioritize that. So I'm pretty sad to be stepping down, but I also think it's just the right thing to do. Yeah, I've wanted to kind of put this out there that, recently I've found some of the negativity and some of the name calling like really challenging to be around. And I really hope that, things change around that. So yeah, on the positives, I just want to say I've learned a lot about city government that I never knew before, and just about what's going on in our neighborhood. I think the treasurer role, people have told me that it's like, there's nothing to it, but I actually have learned a bit about the budgeting, and I'm happy to pass that on to the next treasurer, as well as like the Excel reports. So happy to, pass that on to the next person. And I want to just say, most importantly, I've really enjoyed meeting like all the people on the board and through the community board. So thank you so much.
And thank you for the courageousness and for sharing. Michelle's still a neighbor, y'all, right? Like, she's around, she's here. So with or without being in this space, if you've connected with her, you shared space with her, please keep in touch with her, as I will. So, thank you. I'm gonna move on. Sorry, I'm just catching on. Okay. And Zoom is sending you hearts. Yes, send all the emojis. Let me see all the emojis on our screen. So we're gonna move on to the next portion, which brings us to our committee resolutions. Thank you. Yeah, all the hearts for Michelle. We're gonna start with the first one just because I'm up here, which was from executive committee. And if you're on Zoom, you have the link to the website. Thank you, Wayne, for sharing that in terms of just so people have a little bit more context as to what the initiative is about. So if folks remember I want to say maybe it's been like more than 3 months in the making. There were conversations initiated by the borough president and a steering committee of organizations with which CB12 was called to sit on, and I was representing us on that behalf, which is basically there's a funding opportunity at the state level to bring $20 million to, it's called the Downstate Revitalization Initiative. And so it's it's technically 10, but this year's 20. The opportunity for $20 million to come into neighborhoods that have had historic disinvestments and basically to incentivize or promote economic growth, right? And so they always, they usually do one in the city and one upstate. And so these are applications or funding applications that are led by the borough president's office. And so their submission for Manhattan was Washington Heights. So essentially the deadline was last week. So they submitted the application. Because of the timing, I had to submit, they requested a letter of support, which was a broad letter of support, essentially what's in the resolution before you all. And I would want to say it underscores, we're in support of funding coming to this district. What the process is actually is, it evolves if we're selected, right? So it's not like everything that's in that application is 100% set in stone, meaning like the $20 million or the $10 million, if it's awarded, will be spent in a very tight or defined way at that point in time. What the state does is that if we're selected, they start reviewing and initiating a community engagement process in order to get community feedback on what projects are feasible to be funded. What's really important, I think, to highlight here, it's big capital projects, right? Not like expense projects. And again, focused on fostering economic growth in the neighborhood. So that included, I know at the community hearings, it included everything from like, there was marketing and wayfinding, right? To be able to kind of like define the neighborhood in the way that like Little Italy and Chinatown is kind of highlighted in terms of certain sectors. It could have included, for example, bus shelters, rehabilitated bus shelters or transit stations. There are public plazas, for example, at the forums was really popular. So making sure that like we don't have bathrooms at all of our public plazas, we don't have seating at all of our public plazas. So those are the kind of projects that the community initiated. And so some of those are highlighted in the formal application, but those again, as I said, are not definitive. The state, if we're selected, will do their own. So the letter of support, I just want to echo, is not about like, we want this 1 or 2 projects, but it's that we're supportive of Washington Heights being selected because we need the investments. And so just for context, the executive committee voted on it. And then I got a call that the lead applicants, so what they do is it's the borough president and one organization, and that changed to better reflect and position like other awardees. So last year and in other years, if you go on their website, normally who partners with the borough president on this are bids. Right. And in this case, the result that we have with the executive committee was Cloth or Community League of the Heights. And so after we voted on it, it changed into the Washington Heights bid. And so I had to resubmit that on Thursday of last week, the day before the deadline. So that's why we're kind of re-voting on this again, if that makes sense, and why it's different if you saw it at the executive committee. All right. Yes, let's see. It's recorded on that one. It's live streamed on that one. Yeah. Yeah, no, because this is this one. So you're not gonna see it over there. But it's recording from over there. I got you. Yeah, Joel.
What is the next step in the application process?
Oh, the application's been submitted, so we gotta wait to hear back. Oh, that's a good question. No idea. I would say a couple months, maybe early next year, we'll find out. Or does the borough president office know? Yeah.
It's a process. So now what happens is, the state starts a process of reaching out into the community and to various groups. So the community weighs in on what the top projects will be, and then those are vetted. And again, the final process happens, through community and through the state weighing in. It's the first time they're doing a double grant application, meaning rather than just, it's typically only 10, it's the first time that I know it's gonna be 20.
Yeah, and just for, yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the first part because I had to check on verify the computer again, but essentially for folks on Zoom, what Porfirio was saying that it's the first time that it's $20 million and it's actually a really lengthy process. So I'm sure and confident that the borough president's office will keep us in the loop on and you know, the rest of the steering committee as well, it's on and you know, and what happens and where we're at in the process. So all right, cool. Like I said, my agenda went missing, so who's next? Is it Parks? All right. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. Michelle, you will be missed. I wish you the very best. We have a resolution that is very straightforward. For the rest of the Parks meeting, please refer to the minutes. I want to extend also many thanks to Bruce, who helped in the writing of this resolution, which has to do with providing water services to the space on 156th Street and Riverside Drive. It is called the Riverside Oval Association. And we are very much in support of Parks installing some much needed water installation for the garden there. Hopefully you read this resolution because I only have 3 minutes to answer questions, but it has been thoroughly written with much specificity. So if you have any questions, I will gladly answer those. There was a presentation and the resolution did pass unanimously in our committee. Yes, yes.
The area that needs this kind of water, I mean, there are other gardens as well, the root garden, I think, and is there a way to get water to all of those gardens if they don't?
I cannot answer that question because I don't know off the top of my head, but as a member of the Ring Garden, they also do have water, they have a watering system, and I don't think that it links to a fire hydrant. The challenge here is that in order to get this garden watered, we will be occupying a fire hydrant for hours at a time. So this installation will alleviate something that is there to put out a fire in case a fire happens, knock on wood. So that is why we are in support of this resolution. Yes.
And just as a point of information,
Sure.
the money for this was actually allocated years ago, and it's just that the project has been delayed by COVID and other things.
Yes.
And historically, there was a fountain in that oval park that God knows what happened to it. So at one point there was water. There isn't any.
The project was delayed by the pandemic, but it was previously approved under the leadership of Gail when she was Borough Manhattan president. So yes, it is in one of the whereases that this has been in the works, but it has been delayed, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. So now is the time to act. Yes, Steve.
Did contribute some money towards this project. The bulk of the money came from Mark Levine when he was the council member.
Thank you for that clarification. That funding was also allocated when Mark Levine was council member. It's in the in one of the whereases.
And that was my time. Refer to the minutes and thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. For licensing, we had about 15 resolutions. However, you're not voting on agenda item number 7, 12, 13, and 15. I repeat, number 7, 12, 13, and 15. On agenda item number 6, the committee had voted in favor of that particular applicant. However, because they did not submit the documents that we requested to the board, this particular item is going to be reversed, so will be an objection. We voted on agenda item number 14 as a positive. It's a new bar that is open up or replacing Harlem Public on 183rd and Broadway at the North End Place. So there'll be a new establishment there. If you can see the resolution, we didn't put too many restrictions because the establishment already has like the sound limiter, the hours are not too late, opening up, late at night. So there's not much from licensing, but I must report that I had a meeting with the SLA chair, Chair Lily Fan. And there were some changes to the legislation. I don't know if you recall, but some time ago, we had like 3 months of having licenses on having to wait 3 months. So that's going to be expanded now. It's free of charge. There'll be no fees for these new changes. And it's just a matter of facilitating and expediting the processes of how the licenses are getting executed. So I think it's a positive move by the chairwoman, and she indicated the fact that she's coming from a community board background. So the input that we have as a board is really important. So I highly recommend that if you have a chance to visit the committee and or bring recommendation to our committee members. On that note, I'm going to open up the floor for questions, starting with Steve and then Berlin. Steve, you have the floor.
Just refer to at Broadway 183rd, El Barquito. Can you tell us something about them? Have they had another business in the community? What kind of experience do they have?
It's I'm going to defer to our committee members, but apparently they do have a new chef that is coming in. It's a renowned chef, very well known. Apparently he has over 12 different restaurants citywide. But I'm going to allow Leo to elaborate and on this matter. Leo.
In fact, one of the business for the other restaurants is actually inside North End. So he has some in there. So yeah, the top of
So in essence, for those that cannot hear, it said that the operator does have already a business in place and that he has over 12 years in experience. I mean, restaurants citywide. It's a renowned chef that we bring into the community.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell them to take down, there's a very large sign on the front window that says something like police or something. They said, look, the whole place is closed. And then all the businesses inside are closed down.
I'll pass by because I live very close by, so I'll check it out. Yeah, Jim Berlin, then Wayne. Jim Berlin, you have the floor.
Basically, please give us the details of resolution number 8. What are they actually proposing to do?
Give me 1 second. So they would like to extend the hours. It's listed on the RESO, and the idea is as introduced by the representative was to bring more clientele. Business is very slow, and they're proposing to bring up the hours, to closing hours at the place. Some committee members indicated that this is a great operator. And it seems like we had no issues because there were no complaints from our residents and or PD. And that's why the committee proposed to approve this change. Thank you. Wayne. Well, thank you so much, all. You have a good night.
Okay, we are now going to move on to the roll call. We're going to start with the virtual members first. So when you hear me call your name, please tell me your vote. Marielle Ali, how do you vote?
Yes, for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Radia Barnes, how do you vote? Radia Barnes, how do you vote? I'll come back to you. Hector Bonilla, how do you vote? Hector Bonilla, how do you vote? I will come back to you. Eleazar Bueno, how do you vote? Eleazar Bueno, how do you vote? I will come back to you. Darley Cornell, how do you vote?
Sorry, yes to all.
Was that Eleazar? Okay, thank
Yes.
you. And Darley, how do you vote? We will come back to you. Sonia Figueroa Pagan, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Barbara Fraser, how do you vote? Barbara Fraser, how do you vote? We will come back to you. Jonathan Fermetta, how do you vote?
I vote yes to all.
Thank you.
Sure.
Miriam James, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Carmen Polino, how do you vote? I'm sorry? Carmen, how do you vote?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes to all.
Thank you, Carmen. Indiana Porta, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Liz Ritter, how do you vote?
Can you come back to me? I'm having a hard time finding the agenda to see what I'm actually voting on.
Okay. And then let me just try Radia Barnes once more. Radia, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Hector Bonilla, how do you vote? Okay. Darley Cornell, how do you vote? Yeah. All right, we are now going to move in person. Joelle, how do you vote?
Call
We have-
Tanisha Grant.
I'm sorry. Oh, Tanisha. Sorry, Tanisha. How do you vote?
Yes to all.
Thanks, Tanisha. And Noemi, how do you vote? Noemi Diaz, how do you vote? Okay, we'll come back to you. Jamirna, how do you vote? Jamirna votes yes to all. Richard Allman, how do you vote? Richard votes yes to all. Mary Anderson, how do you vote? Mary votes yes to all. Jay Baez, how do you vote? Jay votes yes to all. Wayne Benjamin, how do you vote? Wayne votes yes to all. Jim Berlin, how do you vote? Okay, Jim votes no on number 9 and number 14 and yes to the rest. Daniel Bonilla, how do you vote? Daniel votes yes to all. James Bosley, how do you vote? Okay. James Bosley is conflicted on resolution number 3 and not voting due to a business affiliation, and he's voting yes to the rest. Daryl, how do you vote? Daryl votes yes to all. Robin, how do you vote? Robin votes yes to all. Chair, how do you vote?
Yes, sorry. Yes to all.
The chair votes yes to all. Erwin, how do you vote? Erwin votes yes to all. Luana, how do you vote? Luana votes yes to all. Heidi, how do you vote? Heidi votes yes to all. Jody, how do you vote? Jody votes yes to all. Leo, how do you vote? Leo votes yes to all. Yosef, how do you vote? Yosef votes yes to all. OC, how do you vote? OC votes yes to all. Michelle, how do you vote? Michelle votes yes to all. Alexis, how do you vote? Alexis votes yes to all. Tracy, how do you vote?
Myself, I vote yes to all.
Tracy votes yes to all. Isidro, how do you vote? Okay, Isidro may be conflicted on resolution 8 and is not voting due to the bid's participation with that business and is voting yes to the rest. Bruce, how do you vote? Bruce votes yes to all. Steve, how do you vote?
Legal conflict is with resolution A.
Oh, I'm sorry, you said A, not 8.
Yeah, eight.
A, oh, I apologize. Isidro's conflict is with resolution A and not 8. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Did you vote, Steve? How do you vote?
I voted on either one. On A, I understand that the application that has been submitted includes the proposed of the project. And on B, B is a farm project. So I'm not voting on either one, and I vote on yes on all the others.
Great, thank you. So Steve is conflicted on both resolutions A and B due to his position at the Parks Department and votes yes to the rest. Carl, how do you vote? Carl votes yes to all. I vote yes to all. Chris Whitaker, how do you vote? Chris votes yes to all. And Crystal Woodley, how do you vote? Crystal votes yes to all. Did I miss anyone? Both either on Zoom or in person?
Liz Ritter.
Oh, sorry, Liz. Yes, how do you vote?
I vote yes to all except number 3, on which I am not voting due to conflict, as the operator has donated to 2 different organizations on which I serve.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom or in person? Okay, thank you, Chair.
All right, that wraps up our voting. All right, we're gonna move to committee reports, lightning round style. So once one's done, come on up to the podium. Reminder, folks, committee chairs, you got your 3 minutes. Highlight your budget requests. And what's next? Yes, Joel, it's you. So. If you want to, right? Like if you wanna go hard for your items.
Good evening, everyone. I wasn't here last meeting, so I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Joel Abreu. I'm the Business Development Committee Chair. Welcome all members to come and join me on the first Tuesday of every month for our committee. The first thing I want to mention, Mr. Javier from Popular Bank is here. If you guys all recall, last spring, we did a business development district, basically a proposal, and it was approved. We did a resolution. Unfortunately, Popular Bank has decided not to apply this year, just for internal reasons. But the application is being submitted next spring. So be on the lookout for another resolution supporting the Banking Development District, which will give $3 million to Popular Bank, because Washington Heights and Inwood be designated an underbanked community. And this is great because it allows us more capital for mortgages and commercial loans. So be on the lookout for that in the spring. If you have any questions regarding the BDD, please go see Mr. Javier, and we will be submitting another resolution in the spring. Quickly, I just want to give
for my resolution, not my resolution, my budget, I want to highlight something very important, and I might be stepping on noble stoves here, but I apologize. We had a Mr. Fernando. Fernando is a licensee, a card licensee for cannabis. And he was approved in the spring to get a delivery license and have a location. Unfortunately, he is unable to start his business because of funding. The reason why is because DASNY and the OCM fell through on this deal that would fund these open door stores, that you can turnkey and it'll be set up for you. Luckily, New York City stepped in, at least for regionally, for these card licensees, and they approved a loan, like a loan fund for these card licensees. And phase 1 has already been approved, and the application for card licensees are open. This will give them up to $100,000 in a startup capital to get these stores open. However, in my capital budget, I included, because I went to the meeting where the mayor spoke about this fund, and there will be a phase 2, but we need support on this phase 2 because there's going to be card licensees that are left out, and not only just card licensees, but also licensees that are just applying to be a regular licensee. And we have to promote this because this is going to be a heavy industry. It's going to be billions of dollars. So this is very important, especially for the licensees that didn't get that opportunity. There were 450 card licensees, and only, I think, 50 of them were given like a store. So there's a lot of them that need to be funded. Another quick shout out, if I have time. Oh, vote for the DRI. That's $20 million of New York's, well, they already voted, but New York State capital going into Washington Heights. That's economic development. That's going to be fantastic. So I'm glad that everybody voted for the most part, yes. And if you didn't, I'm watching you. Lastly, okay. That's all I got. Any questions? Nobles.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we were tackling in the cannabis task force is inability to get space from landlords in our neighborhood. One of the things we've been seeing is licensees in our neighborhood going opening their shops downtown. In this budget, which I've also heard about, I'd like to make sure that if some places get funding, especially card holders in our CB12 district, the priority goes to people that want to open up stores in our CB12 district. Taking that funding and going downtown does not serve our district. We only have legal shops in our district. That opens up space for greater shops. Therefore, the funding should be used up here. We've early talks with the bid and the Cedro, like, there it is. We were in early talks about what it's going to take for landlords to be a bit more open to cannabis businesses opening up in our neighborhood. We're hoping the funding goes there. So that's one of the things we're looking out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great segue to another thing that they spoke about this meeting. They're coming out with a program called NYC Lease. And what this program entails is there's a lot of enforcement happening with the OCM, and these illegal shops are getting shut down. But they're being put into a database, these landlords that allow these smoke stores to open, to lease this same space to leases, so to people who have licenses. So it's called NYC Lease, and it's not out yet, but it will be out, I think, in November. This allows, I'm a license, because this is it's a real estate game, right? Because of proximity. So if I have one spot here, nobody around me in 500 feet can open up another shop. So it becomes kind of like a real estate game, right? That's a program that can be able to tackle that, and I'll give you more info on that as soon as it comes out. Isidro.
Can you please elaborate if you have some ideas about the Corporate Transparency Act, and if you need info, we're going to hold the webinar. I don't know if you know, but
after January first, there'll be $505 per day, in summonses if you do not register your corporation. So then I can speak offline and happy to have an information because, again, it's going to be $590 per day after January first if you're not registered.
And this is for cannabis or generally speaking? Okay, we'll speak online. I didn't know about that. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you, guys.
Is Ellie still on? Elisa, you still on Zoom?
Yeah, man.
All right, if you could chime in with your quick report.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the chance to be able to speak and refer to the minutes. And as far as the stats, as usual, the police departments, both precincts, the 34th and the 33rd, have shown improvements in most areas, except for, I believe it was robberies on the 34th. It's pretty much what's been happening, and a bunch of, not a bunch of, but incidents on stolen cars in the 181st in Amsterdam area. That's pretty much what's been happening as far as public safety is concerned. And I was curious to Joel, and I should have asked you this, as to exactly the location in which the individual that was just there during the presentation is looking to have his establishment on. But that's something that we'll speak offline. But pretty much, we haven't had any incidents. There was a situation with a fellow that was pretty much hitting women in some of the I think it was by the A train. And I believe this individual has already been caught, as far as I know. That's pretty much my report. Are there any questions?
You have one more. I don't know, Liz, I see your hand now. Where did the hand go? Oh, okay. All right, let's go to OC actually.
Go ahead.
Are there any reports on animal cruelty cases in the 33rd or 34th precinct?
No, not from either of the representatives that were there last week, Castro or Nieves from the 34th.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you, Elisa.
No problem. Thank you. Great night.
You too. Next up is Nobles.
I'm so sorry I was late. I have a new job within my company, so I'm like still onboarding, so it's taking me a while. We had an awesome meeting, a cannabis task force. I certainly invite everyone to come to the cannabis task force meeting first Mondays of every month, unless otherwise there's an issue on a Monday. But we had an awesome meeting last week. First and foremost, the CUNY school is doing a survey. You've probably heard about this last session we had, a survey on local marijuana, local cannabis, retail, dispensary, and legalization. It's for literally everything, just getting the sentiment of our neighborhood, and then also mapping the areas that have like legal cannabis dispensaries in our neighborhood. Now, there's only 2 of them, as I said before, as you heard me there, because there's been a very slow trickle of companies that have come in front of our task force to be approved by the community. Because we talk about what those things are and why that's a trickle in our task force. If you're interested, come on through. That being said, there is this survey, and I'm going to put it into the chat of our Zoom in a second, where I certainly ask you, please share it on your social networks, share it with folks. They're trying to get as many respondents from our neighborhood as possible to talk about what they feel about cannabis dispensaries opening up in our neighborhood. It's going to make it a two-way communicative street beyond just citizens coming to our task force. They're doing a lot of great work in this neighborhood. We have really good local partners for this. Again, I'll put it in the chat after I stop speaking, but please share this out, take it yourself as well. We're also looking for volunteers to help us get IRL, which is in person, in real life, folks to fill out the survey. So if you're interested in volunteering with a clipboard to go to a particular event and get people's sentiment on legal cannabis dispensaries opening up in our neighborhood, I would love your name for this. Secondly, one of the things we weren't able to report on from the last general meeting is that our task force, now that we have established a process by which we review legal cannabis retail dispensaries opening up in our neighborhood, we're setting our focus this session on, one, how do we continue to scale our education in our neighborhood in terms of not only the benefits of having legal cannabis dispensaries, but also cannabis is to normalize a little bit because it's here now and we need to do this. Secondly, we are also held in this task force, the focus of it, to figure out why is it that we are a neighborhood, first of all, we are a neighborhood that has been disproportionately affected by the war on drugs for decades. Okay, you heard about me talk about this when we solidified our process last season. We are still seeing a trickle of businesses coming in to our neighborhood. And as I said from the seat back there, if folks on the microphone couldn't hear me, it opens up the market for gray market. And we all know the issues with that. The answer is more legal cannabis retailers in our neighborhood. That's it. The more legal there is, the less gray market there is. Therefore, we're trying to figure out why businesses, specifically real estate, commercial landlords, there's still a stigma behind cannabis retail outlets, no matter what kind of money they bring in. This is a major opportunity for our neighborhood. First and foremost, we are the home of Haze. We developed it. We should, Washington Heights, we should have this as a major tax driver for our neighborhood. So we all need to work together to figure out how we can introduce and welcome new cannabis dispensaries into our neighborhood in a very community-driven process, which we already have, and we need all your support on that. And so all these things, we are focusing on those two things, education and scale, with our task force. If you're interested in this, I welcome you again to the first Mondays of every month to come to the Cannabis Task Force. We keep meetings very focused. We're usually out within an hour at most, because we are all about process and results-driven results. And so come on through, let us hear your voice. And my last update from the last task force, thank you, Carmen, by the way, for sending these through. The New York City Economic Development Corporation and the Department of Small Business launched where'd he go? Oh man, he's gone. He already talked about this. Basically, the loans that will be coming out. It's going to be up to us to make sure that these loans come back to our neighborhood, and we're able to do this we're able to roll out these legal dispensaries in a very egalitarian and community-centric way. That's what we're here to do. And I really need everyone's support. The last two meetings have been a bit thin, really good stakeholders there that are involved in this, but I really hope that more people from the public come, because I know there's a lot of conversation going on. There's a forum for this. So every first Monday, every month, come through. 30 minutes of your time. Please just come on through. We have a Zoom. All right, y'all. Thanks. Oh, shit. Questions?
Can I just add, Nobles, really quickly regarding the
Please,
Cannabis
Carmen.
NYC Loan Fund? Just wanted to share that the application window will close on November 4th. So please make sure that you share that with everyone so they can apply if need be. I heard Joelle talking about Fernando. I'm not sure if this would be a good resource for Fernando. And also the loan size is up to 100K at a 9.5 interest rate. You can find more information on cannabisnycloanfund.com. This information was also shared in the newsletter that just recently went out. There's a link all the way towards the bottom. If you click on it, you'll find all the details. So please do share. Thank you all, and thanks, Nobles.
Thank you, Carmen and Hector, for doing the good work. Any questions? Osi.
I have a question, Nobles, as soon as once sauce is finished.
I got you, my man. All right, what's up, Osi? You're good.
So about a week ago, one of the new legal dispensaries plastered the DOT signs with gigantic posters.
I saw that. I've reached out to the owner.
As you know,
Of course, good for politicians, not good for businesses.
and there the businesses work so hard to get that going, don't screw it up.
And we're not. All right, look, there's a test and learn period for all of this. And as we learn together, we will make sure things like this, yeah.
It's not, it's not, that it's a new thing that it's illegal to.
Guerrilla marketing is huge. That's what I do. I feel you, OC. Absolutely. I've reached out to the owner about it. I sent him a picture. I saw it yesterday, actually. I think they're very new.
Hold on.
No, but I feel you. No, you were 100% correct, and there's no space for that. And I'm with that.
One more, Elisa.
Yes.
My man, how are you? Good?
Fine, thanks.
Studies on socioeconomic impacts of this cannabis dispensaries in communities, and B, or number two, is the proportionality of the locations of underserved communities versus affluent or middle class communities. I'd like to see those two numbers.
Sorry, so let me just make sure I get it back to you, just to make sure I'm very clear here. You're asking for the quantity of businesses in underserved communities in our districts?
Oh, yeah, this cannabis dispensaries. You know, what's the proportion of where the locations are at?
Okay, got it. There's only two, and I can tell you right now. There's one on Broadway and 175th, Sparkboro, which is fantastic. We approved that last June. And there's Happy Monkey on Dykeman, which services Inwood. There's only two in our entire CB12 district. There's certainly room for more. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
So
yeah. And
there's
then
one
it's
per
kind of
neighborhood.
like
Washington Heights, one in Washington Heights, one in Inwood.
right, and like kind of like citywide. Is there somewhere where we can get
Ooh, there's a
an
map. There's a
idea?
map on the Office of Cannabis Management website, and
Yeah.
you will see heat mapped that many of them are below 59th Street. Like I would say about 85% of them are below 59th Street. We only have two above 145th Street, and that's a freaking shame. We should be making tax dollars locally for more because we are again home of the haze. So like there's so much room for scale here, so much room for monetary growth for our neighborhoods. And I'm going to yield my time back to our beautiful chair. Thank you, Catherine.
All right, Crystal, that address your question? Okay, cool. All right, I know Liz has her hand up. I saw your note, Liz, on that. I'm just gonna keep going and then I'll open it up. Again, if folks have questions as the chairs come up around budget priorities, please, let's raise them. Traffic is in the hall, youth is not here, unless Tanisha, you wanna share anything about the budget priorities? Okay, I'm gonna keep going and then folks can raise up. Land use. Wayne. Oh, park, sorry. Yeah. No, I need you to zoom.
Do my spiel about, I know that there are a lot of competing priorities, but as we already know, the more open public spaces we have, the safer the neighborhoods, the higher the quality of life. So please rank parks and cultural projects highly, especially Amelia Gorman. Year after year, the more we wait on Amelia Gorman, the more expensive these projects become. I know there's some money allocated for retaining walls, but then it goes through rebudgeting again. So if you can just do me a favor and rank parks high on your priority list for the sake of the quality of life for all. I know that there are many, many other things, but public spaces, health, let me remind you that we are the home of the haze, but we're also home of the green. Inwood and Washington Heights has the largest collection of green area, and it needs maintenance projects. So yeah, thank you so much. Any questions?
Just for the people in the microphone, is there a city budget associated with the parks? No.
Yes.
1% though. What about 1%?
Exactly, but yeah. But that's a resolution that we always pass year after year after year. It is embarrassing that other major cities that are smaller than New York dedicate more than 1% to parks. We do less than 1%, so yeah, but it's not part of the budget priorities, but Nobles, thank you so much for the shout out.
Oh, all right, come on up, Wayne.
Exit stage right. So.
Do you want me to bring you the mic?
Thank you. I refer you to the minutes of the Land Use Committee meeting. We basically discussed the budget priorities and then potential topics for the coming year. But on the budget priorities, as I think Catherine explained, the Office of Management and Budget is the entity that reviews and responds to all of the requests to put in. So what we did is looked at our capital and expense budget requests from last year and what OMB said in response to that. So regarding the capital, we were asking for the allocation of funds and low-income tax credits to support the development of affordable housing. And the response was, that HPD will try to do that within their existing resources. So if there's general consensus, but they're only going to try to do it within their additional resources, we restructured our capital request to ask for an increase in the allocation of funds to support and or fully fund these developments. And that's consistent with a resolution that we passed last September. And we remember one of the things we try to do with these requests is to keep them concise. So we did not restate everything that's in that reso, but we referenced it that in that there were 8 key principles that we were saying we wanted to follow. One was defining affordability by the area medium in Washington Heights and Inwood, not citywide. That to have architectural design that respects the scale and character and the density of their surroundings. And that speaks to contextual design. To have new residential developments that address the range of local needs. So that means senior housing, supportive housing, housing for youth. There's a range, not just for one market. To have design of residential units that, meet the demographic needs of family size, and to consider mixed-use developments, particularly on wide avenues near public transportation, to incorporate sustainable design features in all new development and substantial renovation. So if we're talking about LEED, if we're talking about passive house, talking about anything that relates to energy conservation, that those are sustainable design features. And to pursue opportunities for adaptive reuse and revitalization of vacant and underutilized buildings, and to prioritize the development of vacant lots. So those are the things that are in the resolution that we reference as part of the capital ask. We did not restate all of those because it would have been a long run-on sentence, but that's a reso that is of record that all agencies have. With regard to the expense item, one of the things we've been asking for is for the Department of City Planning to allocate staff to work with us and community residents to formulate and implement a community-based planning effort, not the planning effort that was done by EDC. Once again, OMB's response was, speak to the Manhattan Borough Office. We did that, but as you know, the reality is whatever the mayor's office has as its priority is where city planning by default has to put its focus. So while we are keeping this as an ask, one of the things we are pursuing is the ability to simply ask the elected officials to allocate funds to allow us to hire a planning consultant to work with us. The planning study that we completed in 2007 was done by Community Board 12 and the City College Architecture Center as a consultant. And that was paid for with a grant from Harlem Community Development Corporation and from funds from the Borough President's Office and our City Council. So we've done this in the past. Other community boards have done it, and we're simply looking at that as an alternative so we can finally move forward with a plan that is reflective of what the community board and the community thinks is important, as opposed to just being driven by what EDC is pushing. Questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, the floor is whomever is next.
Yeah.
All right, first of all, I just want to point out the importance of reading our minutes from our last meeting, and I want to shout out to Joseph for taking such wonderful detailed minutes. They really are self-explanatory and leave not much room for questions. Our next meeting on November 7th, we're going to have the Social Security Public Affairs Specialist presenting on updates and facts and plans with Social Security. And I just wanted to say to the board members that, you know, I know it's difficult for board members to get to our morning meetings, but if ever you have, you know, you see the agenda and you have questions that you might want to, you know, have raised at our meetings, shoot me an email with those questions, because we can ask those questions for you and, you know, get the answers back to you. As far as our budget ideas and items, our capital and expense budgets, I just want to point out for the Aging Committee, it's to keep seniors aging in place. And we want to provide the services that they need to be able to do that. We don't want to see our seniors in nursing homes or unable to participate in the community. So please take a good look at our budget requests. Thank you.
I was like, let's keep going. Who's next after aging?
Mario.
Oh, yeah. Marielle. Thank you. Sorry about that. Marielle, where you at?
I'm here. Hi, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. We had a good meeting for housing earlier this month. We had a presentation from the new incoming Family Engagement Center. It'll be held at they're going to have a space at the George Washington Bridge bus terminal. Their launch date is sometime December. I encourage everyone to learn more about it. They're going to provide a lot of like holistic programming, free programming for the community. It was really exciting to hear kind of some of the things that they're doing, and really, particularly, really impressive to hear their very intentional engagement with the community, from naming the actual center to inviting members of the community to paint the mural once the space is ready. So again, really encourage you all to look into that. And I think there was a presentation. I can send that around for colleagues. In terms of the budget priorities for housing, I think we all know affordable housing is needed. And so just obviously wanting you all, as you look at all of these priorities, to really kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Housing is one of the biggest needs in our community, but also access to pantries. And so as a committee, we went through and kind of discussed the different priorities. You'll see them kind of listed there. For example, increasing funding for free legal representation, increasing staffing at HPD, ensuring that there's more funding for NYCHA, as it relates to kind of, you know, stairwells and apartment doors and self-locking doors, more inspectors that we need for housing code and Department of Buildings, tenant support specialists. We also put in two new requests. One is on workshops for landlords on Local Law 97, as well as a request for increased funding for the Homes Now, Homes for Generations. So this is the resolution that we all passed earlier this year. So one of them is around kind of revitalizing existing buildings. The other is around creating opportunities for home ownership right here in our own community. So again, really, really important thing. So do take a look, and we encourage you all to rank and vote these highly. In terms of a quick forward look, for November and December, we're looking forward to working closely with Health and Environment for joint presentation. So stay on the lookout for that. And a big thank you to Sonia for preparing the minutes, and happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Okay, no, there is none. The housing is always high up. All right, Steve, come on up. And then we'll have bylaws and then move on.
Okay, well, all these other committees have very valid budget items, but then you have the Health and Environment Committee. And so our number one priority, as it has been for a number of years, and also has been the board's overall priority, has been to increase the mental health services in the community. And we would hope that you would continue to give that the highest ranking, that we would continue to maintain this board's commitment to that issue. It's extremely important. And of course, we feel as though it's an issue that we continue to have to keep on the front burner, because we also want to see New York Presbyterian reinstate the psych beds at the Allen Hospital. And this is one way in which we can continue to press that issue. So our other budget priorities, we reviewed the OMB responses, and then we had a discussion and carefully looked at each one of them and reordered them based on our current sense of where things stand in the community. So our second priority was to increase substance abuse services in the community. Our third was to provide funding to ensure that all local public schools have multi-service health clinics with nurses and social workers. Our fourth priority was to provide funding for more noise enforcement cameras, which should be installed in both Washington Heights and Inwood. And, this was a program that started maybe a year and a half ago. We had one camera in Inwood briefly, and we didn't, we need to get it back and to also get a camera in Washington Heights. It's not for me. To increase funding for education. The next item is to increase funding for education and outreach on recycling, reuse, and composting. I think this is probably needed more than even last year because of the introduction of the new curbside composting program. I think it needs a lot more education. People have to get a better sense of how it's going to work and how they're going to participate in that program. And so this is an important issue. Increasing services to prevent and treat chronic diseases such as dementia, diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and hypertension, conditions that increase susceptibility to COVID-19. Our next one was to increase trash basket collection on commercial streets with a second shift so the baskets are emptied more than once daily, and to increase the number of trash baskets throughout our community. Next was to increase HIV/AIDS prevention and treatment services and LGBTQ services in our community. And last but not least, increase pest control efforts to eliminate rats in our community. On the those are our 9 expense items. On the capital side, we are once again pushing for the city to construct a new garage for District 8M. District 8 is on the Upper East Side. Its trucks are being housed in our district on 215th, 216th Streets. They belong back on the Upper East Side. We should have less truck traffic in our district, and there was an effort to build a new garage for them. Seems to have fallen through the cracks. We need to keep the pressure up on that issue. They should respect coterminality, and they should have a garage of their own. We also are asking for additional garbage collection trucks and street sweepers. We're asking that the city continue the replacement of old water mains and sewer lines in our community, and finally to install green infrastructure such as bioswales to divert stormwater from the sewer system. So I think you'll all agree these are very good budget requests, very important, and you want to rank them all very highly before you look at all the other committees. I also want to mention for those who were thinking of getting a flu vaccine tomorrow at the Hebrew Tabernacle. I've just been informed by New York Presbyterian that this event has been postponed, but don't let that deter you. You should still find a place where you can get the flu vaccine, where you can get the COVID vaccine. I know. I'm sure it's not they're telling me that not that many people signed up, but I think still people are going to show up in any case. Yes. Yeah. It's not good. And if I can I ask Eliezer a question? Is he still with us? No? Oh, shoot. All right. Well, in terms of there was a double shooting, a fatal shooting at Amsterdam Avenue at 160th Street earlier this month. And he didn't make reference to it. I'm wondering if the 33rd precinct said anything about that shooting. It's I mean, well, many of us live right nearby, we're pretty close, and it seemed like a pretty scary situation. You're not asking me a question, are you? Oh, okay, well, I refuse to answer.
I was wondering, is there a protocol by which they're able to review and then approve sound cameras in certain areas of our district? Or is there a process that we don't know about?
Probably the latter. It's a fairly new program. They were, a year ago, they were seeking additional money in the budget to expand the program. Frankly, I need to reconnect with the guy who is running it at DEP, because I don't know if he ever got that funding, but it's an important issue in this community, as you well know, and I think we should continue to advocate for these noise enforcement cameras. No, it's based purely on the recording of the sound emanating from the cars that are zooming back and forth on our streets. I hope that satisfactorily answered your question. Okay, fine. Is that it? Okay, thank you.
Hey, everyone, from bylaws, let's see, we do not have any budget priorities, just putting that out of the way. But we do have one more meeting coming up, November 14th. It's a Thursday. I know we voted on a lot of the bylaws amendments at the last meeting, but there were some discussions that were going to be a little more robust that we couldn't fit into the last meeting. So we'll have those there at that special meeting again on Thursday, November 14th. Hope to see you there, and it'd be great if we had quorum too. Thank you.
And just to echo, remember, after our lesson learned from last month, we're not doing it at the general meeting. The goal is to vote on November 14th. So we need bodies in the room and bodies on Zoom, and there will be dinner. So we'll bring dinner. We'll be there. And at 6:30. At 6:30. So there'll be more emails coming out with that, as well as the 9 areas for that agenda. So I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Take noted. That reminded me there was that. And then the second thing before anybody makes a motion on this floor to adjourn is Tiger Team. So I had asked folks to there are a lot of folks from our survey who wanted to do more outreach and engagement in the community. Youth and education, similarly to some of us, have wanted to do tours of our local libraries, right? So Inwood Library, super nice, fancy, state of the art, but so will be the Washington Heights Library on 179th Street, like super nice in the schematics, right? Like that vibe, like Inwood. And then Washington Heights got its upgrades, I think, a few years ago. So they want to establish tours, very similar to the Uptown tours we did last year, but I need a Tiger Team to help do that. So like 2-3 people who are down to kind of, okay, I got Crystal, thank you. Oh, it would be, actually, good point. Yeah, let me do that. Because I don't know if it'll be all in one day or how it'll work. But I just need 2-3 people who can help me like organize that, put that together, pick some dates, help put the flyer together, push a little call out. The goal would be to kind of open this up. So it wouldn't be just board members, but we can open it, the RSVP, kind of take a look at that. So, thank you, Indiana. Got you. So I got Indiana, Crystal. We don't have a date, but Tiger Team will help establish dates. So I got you. So we'll see. And it doesn't have to be for now. We know we're approaching holidays, huh? Okay. We're approaching holidays, so we'll deal with that. So Crystal, Indiana, I'll follow up with you. Anybody else, hit me up in the next week or so. Nominating committee, reminder, send those asks. Any old business? Any new business? There's a motion to adjourn and seconded by Luana. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. Thank you for participation. Have a great evening and week.
Thank you, Michelle.